EUth is one of our partners in the project EUth, Tools and Tips for Mobile and Digital Youth Participation in and across Europe. And I'd like to start with defining e-participation as we see it, because EUth has been one of the first pioneers in the field of youth e-participation on European scale with the project EUthPart. One of the outcomes of that process, where also young people and other European countries have been involved, was that we define e-participation as interactive online decision-making in action. So it is not necessarily about policy making. And here, this breaks down and maybe helps also to understand our focus, because we see e-participation from two different dimensions. And the first one is direct e-participation, which means that it is clearly embedded and it is clearly docked to a process that has a start and has an end. So it means that young people are giving their inputs and there is a clear path where the output will happen. And whereas indirect e-participation can be seen, that one that takes place in Twitter, Facebook, or wherever where you are sharing, liking, position and different various issues. However, there is no clear promise that your input is going to lead to something concrete or to any kind of decision making. So the first one is the one that we focus on, and where we also try to foster that approach. And here you can see one of the examples of projects that took place locally, which is also most of the success stories come from local level. This is one of the insights that we have got throughout a couple of years of our project. So here you can see a map function where young people could just pin what they are still missing, and then very easy comment and vote that, okay, I'd like to have a bus stop here, as Christian's example, or I'd like to have a drink automat on that bus stop because I'm in any case waiting there for half an hour for changing of buses. So, and what's even better, that these proposals have been implemented. Now we got the documentation of that process. It is a small community in Germany, and now the municipality took over the outputs of that process and they started implementing it. Why do we do it, and what are the main reasons, especially when we come to young people? There are three at least, that it is independent of time and place. And this is also from the site of Initiators. You have an easy collection and processing of many inputs, so you don't need to print and share several thousands of surveys and then to gather them together, analyze, which takes several months most probably. So now I'd like to show you how we are working in the recent project, in the EUth project. And here we are aiming to get more young people involved in political decision making and to increase their trust in European political institutions. We are part of Horizon 2020 scheme, and we are already in the middle of a project, 1.5 years to go. There are 11 partners from 8 countries, and that's one of the strengths of our project, that we have all possible sectors involved in the process. So we have researchers, we have 2 different software developers, we have public administration and youth work representatives in the project consortium. Here you can see the geography and also who is involved in the consortium. So we have 2 research institutes, from one from Sweden and the other one from Denmark. The project coordinator Nexus, based together with the Liquid Democracy software developer in Berlin, us in Bonn, and European Youth Information and Counseling Agency, ERICA, which has more than 7,000 youth information centers all over the Europe for the dissemination. And then there is a French software developer Alfstore, and then we have all the rest are our pilot projects, about which I'm going to tell you later on. So our 3 main target groups are youth organizations, public administrations of any level, so these can be also municipalities of local level and governments, regional, national, European if you want, and also youth workers or any kind of NGOs, also civic NGOs and open centers, whatever kind of non-profit organizations that are interested in working with young people on their e-participation. So what are we doing, and what are three main focuses of our work? That we create software tools on already existing ones. So we are not inventing the wheel, as it was mentioned several times today, but we are taking the best of the best and trying to merge it into one. So we are basing our work on German and French softwares, Autocracy and Flashpool, and trying to create software tools for web-based and mobile participation. Our research work goes to the direction of understanding how e-participation processes work the best, or what are success and failure stories, and because we want to come up with some very practical tips for those who want to initiate e-participation processes. And one of our focuses is on combining online and offline approaches. This was mentioned already. I can only confirm that also our experience shows that there is no online without offline. And then there is one of innovations maybe that are very important for non-profit organizations, to have a so-called decision support tool where you describe how your e-participation process should look like, and then you get a pre-generated process. So it means that it saves time and money for software development. And the third part is, while we are analyzing different cases and different experiences already done in previous projects of e-participation, we are creating generalized guidelines on how to make successful e-participation processes for and with young people. One of our features should be that it is embeddable to any kind of websites or platforms where you can just embed the iframe, because we understand that not everybody will come to our platform just because of the sake of participating, so you need to leave the young person there where he or she is. And then mobile is self-explanatory, and therefore desktop is not most probably anymore the case or so relevant, so we're also focusing very much on having both. We're already multilingual. We have 7 languages of consortium, and we are heading for more. So if you would like to support us, please contact me, because we can offer the possibility to offer us your language skills and help us in making it even more multilingual than it is now. And what we are heading for, it's making it for beginners without being a pro. So this is one of our main approaches towards the project. So those who are still not experienced, so they are not having any fears of how they can deal with it. And of course, therefore, we are offering support and consultations for their work. Yes, and there are, we are working on 3 iterations. So the first one is launched in March this year, and there are 3 processes that are working already: idea collection, collaborative text work, and mobile pooling. And starting of next year, we are onboarding 2 more features, which most probably will be participatory budgeting and mapping. And then there will be a 3rd iteration, which will follow by the end of next year. And one of our important lessons or insights that we could also share with you is to involve pilots already during the process, not to create something in 2 years and then to say, oh, it doesn't really work, but to give them the possibility to feedback. So therefore, we have onboarded from the very beginning 5 pilot projects. So these are one of the biggest European student forums, IJAB, who is trying it out in their internal organizational structure. So it doesn't mean any policy making or anything like that, but the decision-making processes on their local level, or on the internal organizational level, so to say. Then we have City of Paris, a cross-border partnership between Italy and Slovenia, and the region heart of Slovenia. So all of them are working on very different levels, piloting the software that we are creating, and then getting back to us with their feedback on what still needs to be improved. And I have good news for all of you. If you are a non-profit organization and if you are more or less European in broad terms of geographical European 49 countries. Now we have just launched the open call for e-participation processes and projects of young people. So this is part of our deployment strategy, and we are going to support 10 e-participation projects all over the Europe with not more than 10,000 euros for their activities plus the software that we give. And there are two only criteria that you need to fulfill. The first one is to use our software and to give us the feedback also. And the second one is to prove a clear impact for decision making, because this is what we have also learned during the Youth Part project, that we can't foster youth trust in political institutions if we are always leaving them with false promises. This is something that no e-participation process should start without having a clear agenda where we are heading to with our output, because in the end we'll just create the fuss that we now have most of the times also with the structured dialogue process and many other processes that took place until now. So for us, this is the most important criteria, that you show and prove how you are going to lead this input of young people towards a very clear output in terms of decision making. However, this can take place on internal organizational level in a youth information center, how to design your strategy of next 3 years or whatever, towards also national or transnational level. We are very much looking forward to various different levels of projects. So the timeline now, until the end of this month, you have the possibility to have the technical feasibility check, whether your idea is compatible with that what we can offer, because we also don't want to give you any false promises, because technology is sometimes limited. And then the final deadline for submission is the end of the year. So the technical feasibility check is optional, but we invite very much to have it already, so you are sure that at least the technical part is fine. And then the projects will run next year, March, December, before onboarding will also give the possibility for a e-participation training for those who are going to initiate. And more information you'll find on our website. We have just had, I'm very sorry that I'm late here, but on 6th of October we had a webinar where you could get direct answers to your questions, but we have recorded it and it's going to be posted most probably tomorrow, so you can have a look at it if you want to. What is next also on our agenda next year, I'd like you to save the date in your calendars, that by the end of next year we are going to invite those who are keen on e-participation to Berlin and to discuss what's the future of e-participation and how do we deal with that in the field of youth. So this is going to take, the Open Summit in the framework of our project is going to take place end of 2017. And also I'd like to invite you to join our e-participation community on Facebook if you use that, and to share and to get updates on the topic. We have also the German version, so you just change the C to Z, and that's how it's easy. Yes, and I'll be glad to answer your questions. I'll be also staying around for lunch and afterwards, so I hope that we'll have also some ideas coming from your side to our open call so we can cooperate. Thanks a lot.